Hi, this is Nikki Woods. We are going beyond the studio with blogger and author Mandy Hale, who is also known as the single woman. But you're so much more than that. I can't wait to talk to you. I'm so excited. I really
I'm so
am.
excited to talk to you.
Yeah, you are, I think, a multimedia personality, a motivational speaker, and I tell you, you keep millions of women uplifted with your inspirational posts via Twitter and other social media networks. So tell me a little bit about your new book. I've never been to Vegas, but My Luggage Has, which is
Yeah,
kind of your story on how you became okay with being single.
it is. It's really sort of just my story as a 30-something single woman and the highs and lows and ups and downs and, great times and not so great times that come along with it. And some of my funny dating stories, some of my more challenging experiences as I've, traveled this single journey. And it sort of leads up into how I created the single woman movement. And so I'm excited about it because I feel like I think a lot of women are going to be able to connect with it and recognize themselves in my story. I think there's something very powerful about the Me Too moment. Like, oh my gosh, Me Too. I didn't think that happened to anyone else. And
Yeah.
it's really just all about, how we rarely end up where we think we're going to go, but we always end up where we're meant to be.
So tell me about, I mean, because was there at a, and I took your book with me on the cruise, so I'm almost done with it. But for
Yay!
those who are not familiar with your story, has there been a time in your life where you were not okay with being single?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the book definitely details that because I struggled with my self worth for many, many years, and I tended to look for my value in relationships and in all the wrong places and in all the wrong men. And so I think it's also a really good, I think the book details how I was able to transfer and make that shift from looking for my worth and value in relationships and finding it in, God and myself and not looking outward for my happiness, but finding it inward.
And do you think that once you do that lends value then to all of your relationships, not just romantic relationships, but friendships and
Oh,
business?
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, once you truly grasp, who you are and what you're worth and what you're worthy of, it literally, my entire life changed 4 years ago when I finally had this revelation. And, the single woman was really born out of the end of a really toxic, one of those unhealthy relationships I had chosen. And so when I was able to make that shift and really just understand what I was worth in all aspects of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Not, I mean, that's what I really try to focus on with my message. Not just, I don't look at myself as someone who just dispels endless dating advice because I like to share messages and lessons that I learned from all aspects of my life. And it's 100% like when you know what you're worthy of and what you're worth, you will never again settle for anything less than the best in every aspect of life. And that's what's so great about it.
And I thought that what I found interesting is because I was kind of looking at it like, I think that I've had this discussion with other girlfriends that, for single, that term doesn't necessarily apply to me because I've been married. I'm not married anymore.
Right?
So I really don't see myself as single because I have kids
Yeah.
but it does have a lot of good advice for women who have been in, maybe a marriage and not in a marriage anymore and how, you can come back to who you are just
Yes.
as a woman. And, I may have had some experiences that other people haven't had, but I thought it was really, really universal, which I was happy to see.
Thank you so much. And I appreciate your support and your wonderful endorsement of the book. And you've just been such a great friend. And I'm excited that we finally get to talk face to face.
Yeah, so I mentioned earlier about how your online influence has just become, kind of a thing unto itself and taken on a life of its own. How did you grow such a huge platform? I mean, a lot of us are looking to do the same thing. How did you do
It, honestly, a lot of times I laugh and say dumb luck. I really sort of fell into my calling by accident because of Twitter. In the early days, I consider 2009, 2010, the early days of Twitter before people had really figured out what it was going to be. And it honestly was completely organic. The first thing that I did was started following people because obviously you have to follow to be followed. And I was able to tap into some really passionate audiences. What's ironic and funny now to look back on is I thought, it occurred to me, because I'm 35, so I'm a lifelong New Kids on the Block fan, as many ladies of my generation. And so I was like, I'm just going to start following the ladies who follow them, because they're probably my age. I'm sure some of them are still single. We have, they're very passionate, and they've been huge fans of the NKO TV for 20 years now. So that was one of the first audiences I tapped into. And once they heard about my message, they just started spreading it far and wide. And then, another huge element to that was tapping into, some celebrity followers, which was so amazing to me and beyond what I could even comprehend, that some of these amazing ladies cared about, Michelle Williams and Kelly Rowland from Destiny's Child, and, some other Sherry Shepherd, and some other just amazing, fabulous, sassy women who were just really responding to the message. And I think, beyond that, just content, just really, I feel like women just really connected with the message, because there's so little positive messaging out there for single women, as I'm sure you know. I think, the biggest thing I've heard from women across the world is, thank you for giving us a voice. Thank you for making single look a little less, sad and a little more fabulous. And it's just been a huge honor. So I think even now, 4 years later, I still don't think the tides have turned enough where singleness is concerned. I feel like there's still a lot of negativity. There's a lot of, unhealthy messaging out there. There's just not a lot of people out there talking about how to live a, empowered, confident, happy, joyful, single life.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you about that, because I know media plays a big role in that, and now social media has kind of gotten on board with some of the messaging that it portrays. What do you think the media could do differently? Do you think that we're making any changes, and I count myself as a part of that, but what do you think we could do better?
I definitely think I don't know, the portrayal of single life, and this is everywhere. This is just, the churches, the bookstores, pop culture, everywhere you look, it's that, that there's, you're single, there must be something wrong with you. Let's dissect your story and see where you went wrong. And
Right.
it's like, I don't think it means anything about there being anything wrong with you. I think it just means that you haven't encountered someone who you feel like is the right fit for you, and you're not going to settle for less than the right fit for you. And so I really think just understanding, and I think even, family members and friends that I haven't seen in a while, the first question they'll ask is, who are you dating now? And it's not, how's your career going?
Right.
How's life? What's going on? It's, who are you dating? I think that's the number one thing that we look at people and we gauge their worth by, who happens to be standing beside them. And I just think that as a culture, we need to understand that the worth of a person is not wrapped up in who they happen to be dating. So,
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. What is your hope for this book?
Gosh, I just hope that it helps women just really understand that there is more than one way to happily ever after, and that there's no certain way that, a happy ending. I always say, don't settle for a happy ending. Hold out for a happy everything. And at the end of the book, I think I do find my happy ending. It might be a little unorthodox, but that's what I really want to encourage and inspire women to understand that, it doesn't have to include, and certainly I hope to be married someday. I hope that's in my future. But in the meantime, I'm just going to live my life as happily as I possibly can. And I hope that this book gives single women permission to do the same.
Well, you're currently living your life on an RV, Mandy. You're traveling around the country as you sell this book. You're hitting the road. I think you're continuing through the end of March and maybe even April. So give us, it's called the SAS Class and Compassion Tour, which I love. But give us some details on how people can find out more about you and where you're going to be. Yeah, I see. Say hi.
Our tour mama. That's our tour mama. Hang on, let's see. Keep video on. My thing is going a little crazy. We are, a dear friend of mine and I, Jamie Jamgosian, she's a Christian recording artist. We just decided to take this adventure for the month of March across the country. We're in Little Rock, Arkansas right now, we're actually headed out to LA, speaking to women at churches and schools and campuses and other women's groups, just because March is also National Women's History Month.
Absolutely.
It was the release of the new book, and Jamie had some new music out. So we were like, let's just take this adventure and travel and talk to women and come face to amazing women who have been supporters of my message and her message. And oh my goodness, we're halfway through, and it's just been absolutely amazing. We're headed to an event in LA, and then we go to Vegas. I'm finally going to be in Vegas at the same time as My Luggage.
Yeah.
And then we close the tour at Lakewood, Joel Osteen's church in Houston.
Awesome.
So you're in Dallas, right? We'll probably kind of pass right by you, and I'll just
wave at me
as we go through Dallas.
But I know you are everywhere on social media as the single woman, so people can Google you. It's the SAS Class and Compassion Tour, and the book is I've Never Been to Vegas, but My Luggage Has. Mandy Hale, you are a delight, and I am so glad we're connected. You give value to my life every single day, so I appreciate that.
Well, right back at you, lady. You got a message too, so thank you so much for everything.
Thank you. It's Mandy Hale. We have gone beyond the studio on the Tom Joyner Morning Show and BlackAmericaWeb.com.